Hibernate most asked interview questions. Here, what is Hibernate? Hibernate is an open source lightweight ORM tool in Java which is used to map Java classes to database tables and convert Java data types to SQL data types. So here ORM is object relational mapping tool. What are the core components of Hibernate? So core components of Hibernate includes SessionFactory, session, transaction, connection provider and transaction factory. These components are fundamental in performing database operations through Hibernate framework. Explain the role of the SessionFactory in Hibernate. SessionFactory is a factory class used to create session objects. It is a heavyweight object meant to be created once per database, data source or per database. It is used to open new sessions for interacting with the database. What is a session in Hibernate? A session in Hibernate is a single-threaded, short-lived object representing a conversation between the application and the database. It acts as a staging area for changing to be persisted in the database. How does Hibernate manage transactions? Hibernate manages transactions via its transaction interface. Transactions in Hibernate are handled through a combination of Java Transaction API and JDBC. Hibernate integrates with the transaction management mechanism of the underlying platform. What is HQL? HQL means Hibernate Query Language. HQL stands for Hibernate Query Language, a portable, a database-independent query language defined by Hibernate. It is object-oriented, understanding notions like inheritance, polymorphism, and association. What is the Criteria API in Hibernate? The Criteria API is a programmable, object-oriented API in Hibernate used to define complex queries against database entities. It is used to build up a criteria query object programmatically where you can apply filtration, rules and logical conditions. Explain the concept of object states in Hibernate. In Hibernate, objects can exist in three states. That is transient, it is not associated with any session, persistent, that is associated with session, and detached was once associated with a session but then got detached. What is the purpose of configuration class in Hibernate? The configuration class in Hibernate is used to configure settings from hibernate.configuration.xml file. It bootstraps the Hibernate and allows the application to specify the properties and mappings document to be used when creating a session factory. Describe the second level cache in Hibernate. The second level cache in Hibernate is an optional cache that can store data across sessions. It is used to enhance performance by storing entities in cache memory, reducing a database access. What are the differences between get and load methods in Hibernate? The get method in Hibernate retrieves the object if it exists in the database, otherwise it returns null. The load method also retrieves the object, but if doesn't exist, it throws an object not found exception. Load can use a proxy to fetch the data easily. How does Hibernate ensure data integrity? Hibernate ensures data integrity by managing database transactions. It is providing isolation levels and supporting concurrency strategies. It also integrates with database constraints and can enforce application level integrity using validators. What is the n+1 select problem in Hibernate? How can it be prevented? The n+1 select problem in Hibernate occurs when an application makes one query to retrieve n parent records and then makes n additional queries to retrieve related child objects. It can be prevented using strategies like join fetching, batch fetching, or subselect fetching to minimize the number of queries executed. Explain the role of the @entity annotation in Hibernate. The @entity annotation in Hibernate is used to mark a class as an entity, which means it is mapped object and its instance can be persisted to the database. What is cascading in Hibernate? Cascading in Hibernate is the ability to propagate the operations from a parent entity to its associated child entities. It is used to manage the state transaction of associated objects automatically. Cascading type can be used to specify which operation can be cascaded.